Alright, now that I'm assembling the engine, I realize I forgot to order a thermostat or even see what I need. These two are what I got. This is out of our tractor, this is out of the parts tractor. This one did not have a gauge in it, just had a plug. And this gauge has seen better days. Already broke it loose the other day. Alright. This bolts down on the front of the head with these two bolts. And there's two more here that hold this plate on. The thermostat should be underneath that. Oh, that one broke. Alright, so that bolt broke off, so that might decide which housing I use. If the other housing's fine, I'll go with that. Some junk in here. Oh, something tells me that spring's no good. We got our thermostat and our spring. This one looks original. I believe the replacements now are a self-contained version, which everything's together and sits up in there. I actually have not looked, so I'm not sure yet. We'll find out when it comes time to put it together. Pretty much it. There's not much to it. Let's see if this other one's in better shape. Hey, that bolt broke off too. Awesome. Guess I'm going to be drilling and tapping. Hey, and that one broke too. Guess that means I'm back to using this one. Only have to drill and tap one hole there. This one doesn't look near as crusty. Still not good, but tell you what, I might have to drill and tap both of these holes, because this one looks a whole lot better inside. And your surface there, that's the gasket. I'm not sure how that shows up in the camera. But surface inside that the thermostat sits against is in pretty good shape on this one. And not quite as good shape on this one. To my knowledge, at least since we've had this in the 80s, this has never had antifreeze in it. It's always been water. And you can kind of see what that does. This parts tractor was parked for quite a while, but it had nice clean antifreeze in it. Yeah, it's pretty much looking like I need to fix this one. Just because of where that thermostat sits in there. What I should have done once that first one broke, and I knew this was going to happen, I should have heated this up with a torch before I broke it loose. There's a little bit sticking out. I'll probably drill through it, heat it with a torch, and see if I can get it out with an easy out. And this plate's in better shape. Can't remember which is which now. Actually, this one's probably off of that one. Alright, well, if you were wondering what's inside of a thermostat housing on a Allis Chalmers CE engine, that's what you get. Alright, got the thermostat housing all cleaned up. Time to put it all together. This was the one with the broken screw. Lucked out actually. I was able to grab it with vice grips and then heat up the housing and it spun right out. Thermostat I got off one of the tractor websites. It's the Napa thermostat. They covered up the Napa part number here. But there's a couple things with this. Comes with a thermostat, a gasket, seal for something. Don't know what it's for. Can't find anything online about it. Maybe this is supposed to go down and the thermostat go over it. Like that. It's kind of what I'm thinking. The spring goes on top. But what it looks like to me, if you look down inside there, you'll see a recess. This thermostat fits fine in there without the gasket or rubber spacer or whatever this is. And the spring is supposed to hold it in like the factory one. Now what's interesting is the original thermostat fit all the way down into this spring. These replacements do not. Ideally, if you had a little bit bigger spring that would fit around this, that would be best. But it looks to me like this would still hold it and not really damage anything. So I think I'm going to go with it like it is and see what happens. Also, it comes with this. Maybe that's where this comes into play. Alright, maybe that's part of the assembly. Maybe the spring fits around there. I don't know. But this does not fit with my thermostat housing. There's no way this can even go inside of here. So I don't know what that's for. Maybe a different tractor, different model. But it looks to me like if you have a B or C with this style thermostat housing, all you need is a thermostat. As long as your spring's in good shape to hold it in. If that's the case, you can go to Napa and get it for a whole lot cheaper. See if we can see the Napa part number under here. Is that really the whole part number? 55. Says thermostat with seal, 55. That's interesting. Alright. Well, with that out of the way, and this stuff we're not going to use. Oh, also one more thing I did, and this was just a precaution on my end. So there's a couple deals with the thermostat being this far from the flow of coolant, normal flow of coolant. When this thing is totally closed, our coolant's not going to be actually flowing through here. So it's going to require the engine to get hot enough for the heat to conduct to that point. I drilled a small hole in the thermostat, so it'll flow a little bit all the time. For this application, it doesn't matter if it flows a little bit. It'll be better, actually, in my opinion, because now we have, if there's cold coolant gathered into this assembly, keeping the thermostat closed, but the engine is hot enough to open the thermostat, the little bit of flow that this is going to create is going to heat up this area quicker. Also, when I'm filling an empty cooling system, this will help us purge the air out of the system a lot better. So that's my plan there. And also with what I've been doing here as far as RTV instead of the paper gaskets, I'm going to continue with that. So apparently I'm going to make a huge mess. I'm not doing too much here. I'm doing it kind of thin. Shouldn't need a whole lot. That face down until it's in the little groove for it. This overhead, and this is where I need a couple hands. So on my plate here I painted, you can see that side's corroded away a little bit. That's where the spring's at. So that's the side I'm going to put down. So here's the deal. If I was going to mount this in an engine right away, I would go ahead and put RTV on this and tighten it down so it compresses evenly all the way around. But I'm not going to put it on the engine yet, so I'm going to put the bolts through it and put nuts on the back side to hold this side down so when the RTV dries, it dries in the right place. Also, this is the original bolt for the thermostat housing, and notice there is a copper washer on it. And that copper washer keeps coolant from leaking out of the top. Not super important right now, but it will be when it comes time to put it on the engine. Okay, I should be good to go to dry now. Now I'm making sure not to press this in or rub it, because what I've done on the engine parts I've put together is once that dries off, or dries and cures, I can scrape it away with a plastic scraper, and then there is barely a seam there. So that's my plan, but a couple spots I got it on here. I need to make sure it's not going to stay. Alright, there it is. There's a couple other parts I'll put on later after I mount it to the engine. Got a new gauge for it. And got some upper radiator hose too, but just for looks at this point until I get there. I did actually boil some water and compare this gauge reading. It was a cheaper one off of Amazon, and it is a little bit off. It's about 10 degrees off, which isn't horrible. If it gets close to red, worry about it.